Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day to fellow friends and also Dr. Zaki. We are from Group 1. We'll be presenting about power. Our group consists of 5 members, which is me. The first one is Ibnu Nafis. Second one is Sharmila Devi. The third one is Ko Zingi. The fourth one is Nawal Alia, and the last one is Haizat Shahril. So, for our first part of our presentation is about the research question of our group assignment, which is the first one is what is the meaning of power and how it shaped the foreign policies orientation of a state. The second one is what are the different types of power and its relevancy in the current world. The third one is how a state utilizes soft power to achieve its foreign policy goal. And the last one is what is the type of power distribution arrangement in the international system. So, for our group assignment research objectives, the first one is to examine the meaning of power and the foreign policy orientation of a state. The second one is to identify and examine the different types of power and its relevancy in the current world. The third one is to examine the application of soft power in achieving foreign policy goal. And the fourth one, which is the last one, is to analyze the arrangement type of the current power distribution in the international system. So for the next part, I would like to pass it to Sharmila Devi to continue her part.
Good day everyone, I'm Sharmila Devi Mariappan. My metric number is 275322. I'm here to present about the definition of power, the types of power, and the elements of power. Shall we go? Power is the central concept of international relations. Power defined as the ability to get another actor to do what it will not otherwise have to done, or not to do what it will happen done. By Goldstein Pavich 2014 also state that power is the ability or potential to influence others' behavior as measured by the possession of certain tangible and intangible characteristics. Whereby by Smith 2012 assert that power is like a host of other important concepts in international relations and essential concept. It means quite different things to different people. There are two types of power, which are hard and soft power. Hard power includes military force, economic resources, science and technology, and also capabilities of physical and science location. Moreover, soft power includes political, economic and cultural value, art-centered, literature and management model. Alright, that's all from me. Then I'm overing to the next presenter, Sini. She will be explaining more about hard and soft power. Over to you, Sini. Thank you.
There are several key elements of hard power and soft power. The following below will discuss on the key elements of these two types of power. Hard power is a power which tends to reach one goal through tangible assets. The following discussion will focus on the key elements of hard power. The first key element of hard power is the use of coercive power. In the context of realism, international systems is in a form of anarchy. Therefore, states can only self-help to protect and defend themselves. For examples, no country would ever dare to attack United States, as according to the statistics shown in 2019, the military budget of United States was the highest in the world. Therefore, no country would ever go into war with United States easily, as states' main priorities is on its national security and survival. Besides, in the context of realism, international relations is always in conflict. States always seek to go into war with other countries to maximize its security and stability. For example, Syria's civil war in 2011, Iran gave alliances to Syria. From their view, the crisis happening in Syria would assist them to achieve the status of uprising powers in the region and kick out the West in the Middle East. Military force serve as the second key element of hard power. Hard power utilizes military force to change and influence the behaviors of others. Examples of military force can be found in the 2013 Iraq War. Iraq possessed the weapons of mass destruction which considered as a threat to the nation's security. Therefore, United States led its coalition force such as soldiers, aircraft, tanks and ships to launch war in Iraq. Another examples of military force can be seen in the Vietnam War. Based on the report, there were more than 180,000 of American troops involved in the war to stop the spread of communism in the South Vietnam. Economic sanctions serve as one of the key elements of hard power. Economic sanctions can be referred as measures of an economy taken to express the disapproval of the act of a target or to induce to change some policy or government structure. In 2014, United States imposed economic sanctions to Russia due to its invasions in Ukraine, which violate the human rights. The economic sanctions including blocking assets, limit access to United States financial systems, and denial entry of Russia into United States. Besides, United States also imposed economic sanctions to Cuba since 1960s. Through the implementations, the trade between United States and Cuba was banned, and most of the American citizens were prohibited from traveling to Cuba. Carrot and stick approach is one of the key elements of hard power. Carrot and stick approach is a policy which based on punishments and rewards to influence the behavior of a state. Carrots refers to the rewards such as trade barriers, military protections, and alliances offers. Meanwhile, sticks refers to the punishments such as military interventions and economic sanctions. States which follow the request will be given rewards. However, if they disobey, they will be given punishments. For example, United States give rewards to the oil-producing countries which willing to cooperate. In 1979, United States applied the carrot and stick approach by putting embargo on Iran because Iran refused to cooperate with him. So now, I will discuss on the key components of soft powers. Soft power is the ability to influence the behaviors of others through the intangible asset. The following discussions will focus on the key components of soft power. Culture serves as the first key element of soft power. Oxford English Dictionary, it defines culture as the idea, customs, and social behavior of a particular person or society. Japan exercised its soft power by relying on the cultural exchange through the promotions of Japanese culture overseas and also the launching of extensive programs of student exchange by allowing foreign students to enter Japan. Besides, UNESCO also exercised its cultural soft power by promoting peace through international dialogue by leading the reconstructions of the Mostar Bridge in Bosnia and Herzegovina in 2004. Political and societal values serve as the second key elements of soft powers. According to Joseph Nye, Western countries which actively promoting democracy and emphasize on human rights develop an attractive soft power. For instance, India has involved itself in the Democracy Assistance Project in Afghanistan by invest more than 750 million of US dollars for the reconstruction measures. For Brazil shows its efforts in assisting in averting a coup in Paraguay in 1996. Education serves as the third key element of soft powers. China spreads its soft power through the building of Confucius institutions in 140 countries including Africa, South Korea, Japan, United States, and America. To attract more foreign students, China launched scholarship programs such as Silk Road Scholarship Programs. For German enhanced its soft power through the scholarship programs German Academic Exchange Service. Through these scholarships, students and researchers are able to receive advanced trainings and carry out their studies in the universities. Students who graduate with the talents are believed to contribute to the development of the country. Social cultural institutions serve as the fourth key elements of soft powers. Institutions of France such as Alliances Françaises and Instituts Français is the representative samples of how France spreads its soft powers. United Kingdom enhanced its soft power through the BBC. The BBC is a public broadcaster which runs world service networks. It works in projecting Britain's cultural image and showcasing the country more attractive assets to the foreign listeners and viewers. British Council also helps in spreading the soft powers of the United Kingdom. British Council helps to develop cultural relations with the emerging powers such as Turkey, Russia, India, and China in order to improve the prospects for trade and for political relationship. So that's all for my part, and the next presenter will be talking about the applications of soft power in the foreign policy.
Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. My name is Nawa Alia and I will talk about the application of soft power in achieving foreign policy goal. The first approaches to apply soft power is by promoting arts as a form of culture. Art can be in various forms such as performing arts, graphic arts, architecture, and visual art. The embassies usually will be in charge in promoting their home country's art and culture. The programs that are usually will be organized by them are cultural week and art exhibition. This can be seen through the effort made by the Saudi Arabia's embassy that located in Washington in organizing an art exhibition titled Women's Point of View. This art exhibition can be a platform to shift the paradigm of the people of United States on how Islam view women, and it reflects how soft power works in using art as a form of persuasion. Besides organizing art exhibition, another way to strengthen the usage of art is by establishing programs that comes with funds. Embassy of France established a program called Étant Donné program that provide fund for contemporary art to strengthen the relation of contemporary art between France and United States. They have gained international recognition by investing over $3 million that will be used to support more than 300 projects and 16 curators. Their efforts in promoting the arts and culture have resulted that they have succeeded to be in the first place for a country with the highest soft power in 2019 based on the report that was produced by the Soft Power 30. Secondly, the approaches to apply soft power is by portraying good political and societal values. The values can be in form of portraying a good example in democracy, being a peacemaker, and welcoming immigrants at their country. We can take Norway as an example of one of the prominent peacemakers. Some of the remarkable achievements that they achieved as peacemaker are as a mediator between Israel and Palestine Liberation Organization during the Oslo Accord and the negotiation for comprehensive peace agreement that put an end of civil conflict in Sudan. The 2020 budget for humanitarian purpose is 5.5 billion Norwegian krone. Norway's government spending on humanitarian purposes reflects their dedication as one of the prominent international peacemakers. Another example is about Canada's friendly immigrants policy. Family reunification program is one of the government's efforts to encourage more immigrants to come to Canada, and another example is the initiative that has been taken by Canada government to provide jobs to the immigrants through arranged employer opinion, provincial nominee program, temporary worker program. This effort by Canada government has produced 50% of educated immigrants workers in Canada, based on the annual report in 2020 by the Ministry of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship of Canada. This evidence shows that Canada government gained the benefits by introducing immigrant-friendly policy. Lastly, the approaches to apply soft power is through education. By providing scholarships, students from other countries can get the chance to study abroad. The countries such as China, Germany, Russia, and the United States, Turkey, and a number of developed European countries have implemented a variety of higher education programs for competent and promising young people from around the world. Australia's New Colombo Plan and Germany's scholarship program are the example of the scholarship that have been offered for anyone who wants to study there. Education can be a powerful tool unfolding political events that have demonstrated that political leaders may show sympathy and favor to the countries where they studied. For example, during the Afghan War, the Soviet officials used to get Afghan political intellectual elites to accept Soviet ideology with the aim to establish Soviet-friendly regime. For instance, one of them was Nur Muhammad Taraki. He graduated from Kabul University, where he attended a night course at his university. He met several Communist Party of India members, and he impressed by the discussion on the idea of social justice and communist value. Besides, the students can gain valuable social capital after having been studied abroad. Joseph Nye argued that, consequently, after coming back with acquired knowledge and personal relations, they are expected to become effective transmitters of the language and culture of the country where they had studied. As a result, the effectiveness of the exposure to the outside world with the help of national education as an instrument of soft power is much higher than military force or others. So, after discussing the application of soft power in foreign policy practices, the following presenter will be talking about the arrangement type of the current power distribution in the international system.
So thank you to previous presenter Nawal Alia for presenting about application of soft power in achieving foreign policy goals. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Mama Haizat, and for my part I would like to discuss about the arrangement type of the current power distribution in the international system. So there are three types of power distribution, which is unipolarity, bipolarity, and multipolarity. So the first stage is the unipolarity, where it can be described as a distribution of power in which one state exercise most of the cultural, economic, and military influence. Or, as a scholar Eckenberry in 1999 stated, that a system is which one state has significantly more capability than any others, meaning that only one state have the dominance in the international system. Like for example, American primacy during the post-Cold War, where after dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, they have the global dominance and became the new major superpower in the international system.
The second type of distribution of power in the international system, which is the bipolar system or bipolarity. So bipolarity can best be described as a power distribution where two states possess most of the global influence economically, militarily, or culture. Or as the proponent scholar that really close toward the balancer of power theories, which is Kenneth Waltz, in his book, which is the stability of the bipolar world, he claimed that the bipolar system is condition where no third power is able to challenge the top two, meaning that only two states are controlling the global or international system. And the best example that we can take from the bipolar system implementation is when during the Cold War era, where only two major superpowers, which is the United States and the Soviet Union, became the global competitor in the global political landscape. But with the presence of Soviet Union during the Cold War era, it somehow ended the hegemon or unipolar that United States has possessed, especially when it comes to during the World War One. So we can see here that the presence of the Soviet Union and the United States has described the definition that has been made by Kenneth Waltz, where he mentioned that no third power involved here. So meaning that only United States and Soviet Union became the global competitor over here, and no such thing as other entities can be involved during the Cold War eras.
So the third part of the distribution of power in the international system is the multipolarity system. So multipolarity can be best described as an expansion of the bipolarity system, where more nation states are joining to become the global competitor. So, and as the proponent scholar Hans Morgenthau in his book Politics Among Nations, he believed that multipolarity system will establish the balance of power and alliance compared to bipolar system, where more nations can become the check and balance between the other global superpower. For example, we can see the rise of China and Russia as the new global superpower that will give a great challenge for the United States. But somehow, history has shown that multipolarity system is more unstable and war-prone, where the best example that we can see here is during the 30-year war that lasts from 1618 until 1648. The 30 years war is a war that involved religious, territorial, and dynasty dispute between Holy Roman Empire of Habsburg, German Protestant Prince, France, Sweden, Denmark, and United Province. So this incident has somehow lasted for a long time because of the dispute of religious and whatnot. And this incident has somehow triggered the signing of Treaty of Westphalia in 1648 in Osnabrück, which somehow became the major turning point for the rise of the modern international system.
Alhamdulillah, we already reached to the last part of our group presentation, which is the conclusion part. So what can we conclude based on our group presentation and also our group assignment about power is that power can best be described as the ability to influence and switch the behavior of other states according to the nation's decision. Second one is power can be divided to two types of power, which is the soft power that focus on cultural and norms of a state, and also the hard power, which is focused on military and the physical assets of a state. The third one is power utilized to two major types of resources, which is the tangible that can best be described as hard power, and intangible that can best be described as soft power. And the last one for our conclusion part is there are three types of distribution of power in the international system, which is the first one is unipolar, the hegemon, and the second one is bipolar, the two superpower states in the international system, and also the last one is multipolar, which is more than two superpower states in the international system. With these three, it will contribute to the balance of power in the international system and also the international arena. So that's all from us. Thank you.